All right. Thanks for
Oh,
doing the front end pairing time. Lee, do you want to talk about what we're going to work on, and I'll get ready to drive.
absolutely. So we are we were experimenting. We're now happy to move full steam ahead at using a community fork or a series of community forks for the community to contribute to GitLab and the associated satellite projects, as I like to call them. So rather than every single individual having to spin up their own fork of the GitLab project or projects, they can work from a shared community fork. It means they can collaborate. It means they don't have to worry about CI minutes. There's a bunch of other stuff that you get for free with it. The problem is our kind of workflow at the moment when you're using the Web IDE, or when you go to use the Web IDE, it's checking to see whether you've got write access to the project that you're in. If you haven't got write access, it checks to see if you've got a personal fork. If you have got a personal fork, it will go in, I think. If you haven't got a personal fork, it will prompt you to create one. It has no kind of knowledge of forks that might be in different groups or namespaces. It's only interested in your personal namespace. So earlier in the week, we spun up this MR to create a GraphQL endpoint or query or whatever you want to call it to be able to get back a list of all forks that a user has access to. And although we only needed all of the ones that they have write access to, we kind of went the extra mile and created a resolver or endpoint that you can actually pass an argument and say, I want all public forks, or I want all that I've got reporter access or developer access or maintainer access or whatever you want to do. So that's been merged now. So we've now got the backend functionality that we need to say, hey, give me all the writable forks. So now we need to figure out how we can change the front end to actually either display a modal and show you a list of the forks that you've got access or that you've got access to so you can pick, or if we want to decide on a basis to just kind of take the first one, or but to add a bit more intelligence. I hope that makes
Yeah,
sense.
I like showing a modal. I like that. Still, we're still doing that, and I think so. Let me get start up the GDK, and we can get going with our feedback loop as we make front end changes. Uh, but yeah, that's really impressive that the backend stuff got merged. It's like
It's
a
good. It's nice.
24
And again,
hour
I think
merge, right?
the fact that we were able to do it without creating like resolvers because of your
Yeah.
nice sneaky way of adding arguments directly to fields, and yeah, reasonably straightforward. We like that.
All right, I'm starting up the GDK.
I'm trying to sort of think ahead and how we're going to, because I guess at the moment the stuff happens, the check probably happens in the back end. So when the page loads, the button already knows whether you have access to
Yep.
the project, right access to the project, or a personal fork. So we're going to have to, we're going to have to introduce some kind of method or process whereby now instead of it happening, I don't know if proactively is the right word, it's going to happen reactively. So when you click on the button, the front end's going to be the thing that's responsible for saying, right, execute this GraphQL query, and then based on the results, do some stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, so I think what we're gonna do is we'll need to show that modal, because right now we say like, hey, do you have a fork? And then we just jump straight to your fork. I'm kind of thinking we'll show the modal no matter what.
Yeah, that's quite nice actually. Yeah, so it'll even if you yeah, so maybe if we had access to forks as well as our as upstream as we do the canonical, it would still ask you, or do you not think we would want to do that?
So I'm thinking, if you don't have access to push code, but you do have access to fork things.
So you
Uh,
wouldn't show it regardless if you do have right access to
if you have
the
right access to the
project
repository,
itself.
you go straight to the web.
Straight. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you don't have right access to the repository, then you are shown our fork modal, which you can create a new fork from there. And we need to change that button to not just go to your user fork, but you may need to create an organization fork, whatever. So I forgot what that page is. Um, Andrew or Yannick, are either of you familiar with when you create a fork? How do you pick what like namespace or organization it goes under?
No, but let's try it.
All
Let's
right,
try it.
let's try it
Let's
out.
try it. Let's find out.
So
Let's find
this
out.
is this is how I use the GDK. Usually, while this is loading, I imagine the GDK. Using my imagination.
Yeah, it's been ages since I did that, but I imagine it to go
I
under
hit the mysterious.
your namespace, shouldn't it? Like if I fork something from my account, I'm logged in, then it'll be on my namespace user account.
Well, you get the
I steal this.
option.
Yeah,
Okay.
you get to choose. Right now we're like jumping straight to the fork process, but I think we need to take it back to where we can go to the fork creation form. Oh my gosh, let's go. Come on.
So what's
Can I-
what's your thinking there, Paul?
So right now, all right, while this is going, let's take some notes. I'm just going to create notes on this. So right now we have you have the case of if user has write access, and if this is the case, then we don't go to fork, just open Web IDE. That's great.
Yep, cool. Yep.
So else user does not have write access. My pseudo language, you have to specify every condition. It doesn't
I'm sure this probably does actually match some language that we've used before.
If the user does not have write access,
So then we want
want to
to
always, what we're gonna do is always show fork modal with list of forks you can contribute to. Show fork button that goes to create fork form. Currently, what we do is only look at personal fork. And if we have personal fork, just go to it. If we don't, just create a personal fork.
Yeah, I mean it does give you the prompt to say, do you want to create a fork?
Yeah.
And then I think you possibly then get to I can't. No, I think it goes ahead and creates that personal fork, doesn't it? I think we tried that on Wednesday and it didn't. I don't think it took us to the fork creation, but again, that's not overly important.
Yeah. So let's this case is not interesting. This isn't changing. Let's go to where the user does not have access. So let me impersonate a user. That's a thing. Go to admin. I don't know. Let's be the free man. Are either of you familiar with Half-Life?
No.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So let's go to a project like Flight.js, that flighty project. Okie dokie. Oh, look, it's the new Web IDE. Let's try it out. What? All right, this is our feedback loop. Fork project. That's such a good title. You can't edit files. Fork this project is submit a merge. So this goes straight to we're forking. Already on the namespace. So let's maybe start with that requirement. So say doing. Let's start with this requirement. Show fork button that goes to create fork. If I click on Forky over here, oh my gosh, that has to be a an extension or an April Fool's thing that we do. We'd run to copy choose. But every fork icon gets replaced with Forky from Toy Story 4.
Oh, I thought it was gonna be like a fork that pops up and it's like, looks like you're trying to contribute. Do you need help with that?
Who needs paper clips, right?
It's a fork. That's such a good idea. That's a really good idea. That's a really good idea. And here we go. Yeah. So this would be it. I wonder if you can autofill this. That would be so cool. Oh well.
So I'm not quite following where you're going with this one, because we wouldn't get to this page. We don't want to change that, do we?
No, we don't. What we do want to do though is change this button needs to go
Yeah.
here.
Oh, okay. Okay.
This button is like automatically creating the fork for the personal space.
I feel like that's a bit outside the scope. Like we could definitely that could be an improvement, an iteration, but I don't feel like that's our
So here's-
primary goal.
Here's why though. This is why I actually think it is in the scope. Because to the primary goal that you're talking about, if I have a personal fork and I have this other forks I contribute to, we have more than one fork now. So basically all of the user actions need to consider not just personal forks because if
If you've already got those, I totally agree that it's definitely something we should look at. But I think the primary thing is for us to, at this stage, to not just understand whether they've got a personal fork, but to understand whether they've got right access to any forks and flow based on that, if that makes sense. So
no, you're right. And so the actual condition here will be not just user's right access, but it's user does not have right access and can fork. But even if they don't have access to any forks, that means this button of fork the project is the same. And I agree, even the main problem we're going to solve, I'm picking the easiest thing to kind of get the inertia going so we can find the files that we need to touch. That's kind of what I'm doing right now. So the easiest thing we could do right away is this button needs to change, but then we want to do the GraphQL query here of go to one of these forks or something like that.
Yeah, so I guess it's also a question of, if you've got right access to, do we always want to show this? If you've got right access to only one fork, would we want to go straight in?
I think it's worth doing it.
What happens when you have a personal fork already?
Does
it just take you straight in, right?
Let's go ahead and do it.
Like this.
Yeah, let's do it.
So this automatically starts forking it. So it forked it to my user's namespace.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and I don't know if it's going to finish it because it's in the GDK. Oh man.
I think when we did it on Wednesday, it was all right. It might have taken a little while.
I think this is it worked on your machine.
We could easily reproduce this on prod, couldn't
we? Could.
Yeah, these are one of these things where I just go to prod because.
Well, and then if I click on this, oh my gosh, is it still gonna? Oh, it's here now. Okay, it finished. All right. So now this thing changes to edit fork in Web IDE.
Yeah.
And I go straight to it. So we just have a huge assumption that forks are in personal namespaces.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe that's the spot that needs to change now, is like this edit fork in Web IDE could be a drop down that just lists your personal forks. Like that to me sounds like the smallest change that we could make.
So if you
So-
have fork,
So yeah, what you could do, Paul, maybe is grab another project that you don't have right access to and fork it, but don't fork it into your personal namespace. Because
Yeah.
this is the problem child, essentially. This is what we want to.
all right, man, poor reported user 16 can't contribute anywhere. Doesn't even create a group.
Yep, you know where I'm going.
I'm gonna create my own group.
So when, as an aside, when you're all working in the GDK and you have to like play with test data and stuff, what is your like go-to project?
Flight.
I've uploaded GitLab UI. That's my go-to. I tried uploading GitLab, but that requires LFS stuff. So I was like,
Yeah, although while we're on this topic, actually, I've made a conscious effort on a couple of recent pieces of work to improve seed data, and maybe I'll try and do that off the back of this as well, so that when you spin up a fresh GDK, you've got these scenarios, so you don't have to create every single time you want a new scenario. You have to create it. You can come in and there's a user called Forky who has a personal fork, access to a group fork, and a few different scenarios to make it a bit easier to.
so I have a fork in my org, and you're right. This is the key case. Is I have a fork in my org. I click on this, and it says I still need to fork.
Yeah.
So what I feel like is going to be the simplest solution is let's just always show the modal and always show two actions. You can create a new fork, or you can pick one that you can contribute to using the GraphQL query. Otherwise, our branches get really odd, because otherwise we're going to have, because then I'm going to have to do some weird checks on the back end, which I don't feel like I really.
No, that sounds like a good start. It's a good start. So we say if you've got right access to the project itself, it goes straight into the Web IDE. If you don't, it always shows a modal. That modal will either show you a single fork or multiple forks.
Yeah.
And create a new fork option.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and do the we don't have to do the hey Yannick, welcome back.
Now the question is this a view component, or I'm guessing
it is.
Oh, it is. Wow.
I found it. It's called confirm fork modal.
I thought it would be an old Hammerly thing. So
confirm fork modal.
Wicked.
All right, let's.
So, did you do a GDK update just before you jumped on, Paul?
I didn't do GDK update, but I did pull the latest. But let's confirm.
Perfect.
Trying out the GraphQL Explorer.
Yeah.
I didn't spell that right at all. How do you spell? Okay. Is that how you spell it? No. How does it go again?
Is it hyphen or?
I'm missing something. Why do I feel like there's an I in there? Okay, there's not. Why do I feel like there's?
Because it's called graphql, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, that's why. Okay. Query projects. Path is GitLab or GitLab UI. Sounds like a weird front end project. My gosh. Front end people.
Do you remember what we called it?
Visible forks?
We did indeed.
Is it not here? Oh no.
Doesn't look like it, does it?
Just to update Veeam once more, why are we looking at the query now? Because when I dropped, we've still been speaking about the UI actually. What did I miss?
So we're at a point where we found the component that we need to update. but
Mhm.
I know that this was only recently merged.
Okay.
So yeah, we're just checking that that Paul's GDK has already the latest version of GitLab and already has access to.
Gotcha. Okay, so just checking if everything's there network-wise that we're going to be needing.
Yeah,
Okay.
and this will essentially be the GraphQL query that we have to execute from the front end, from the view component to get
Okay,
the
cool.
data back to do what we got to do.
There we go.
Awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, visible forks. Yes, as opposed to the invisible ones that are all around us. Cool. So visible forks is the name of the game. We're in view shared. Don't tell me I have to create like a GraphQL folder in here.
Yep.
Is that where we're at? Is that how it is? How often is this confirm fork modal used? It is only used in Web IDE link, which is also in view shared. Okay, so we're just gonna create a. Are we gonna just create a? Do we already have a GraphQL? We don't. I mean, what do you all think? Create a GraphQL folder here?
It seems odd that we've not needed one to date, though, right?
It does seem odd. So let's actually.
Smells fishy.
Yeah. So let's search for GraphQL inside of view shared. Oh, they're scoped. Oh, that's interesting. I mean, view shared has become such a just a grab bag for it's even less organized than our top level folder, which isn't great. These are modules you can share. Yeah, so it looks like the only GraphQL references are like in these nested view shared things, like alert details has a GraphQL thing.
There is a GraphQL shared folder to make it even more fun.
Is there really? No,
Interesting.
I remember once seeing this introduced and I said, no, we shouldn't do this. Oh, it is. Ooh, okay. All right. Well, maybe we should just put it in here though, right?
Yeah, you probably don't want to start a new
Folder. That sounds like a
Yeah.
large commitment.
Here's the question, I think, though. Is is this query reusable?
No,
Right? So
probably not. Okay. All right. So then let's just co-locate this into its folder and put it next to a query file. That's probably the right thing to do.
Oh, yeah.
Where are we? All right, view shared. View X shared is my fault. That's a
how dare you?
I guess we'll have to put in components. I'm not gonna worry about it. We'll handle doing this later.
I
But
would, you know what, if it's only used in the Web IDE link, you can make like a little Web IDE shared folder. I think that's where it would all go, like view shared, Web IDE
I love it.
link,
Love it.
more
Yeah.
folders.
Visibility level shared. Yep.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. It's we've implemented public and private folders.
Just because right, like it's all about kind of, is this modal shareable or is it more so the Web IDE link that's shareable?
Yeah, exactly. This is where we should. Anyways, I was gonna start ranting, but I'm gonna stop. So I want to move Web ID link into here, but I'm gonna hold off on that. And I forgot what our modal was called. It was confirm fork modal.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and cutting this, pasting it. Go for it, man. All right. All right, I'm not gonna worry about it too much. Oh, well, I guess I'll need to update wherever it's used. Oh, here we go. Web IDE pop. All right. Here we go. Wow, Vuder didn't do a good job here. Oh, these are spec files. Okay, great. So confirm fork modal is in its own thing. Do you all feel like I should create a GraphQL, or do you want me to just put it right next to each other all flat?
We'd say put it right next to it for now because it's on
Yeah.
its own. If it becomes a second and a third and a fourth, then
All right, I'm good with that. So we're gonna call this visible forks query GraphQL. That's how we do it.
sounds good.
We do it.
Or wait, it's actually more than visible forks because it's actually membered forks.
Writable forks.
It's we're hard coding development,
Oh,
right? Oh no, maybe we can just
yeah.
do visible forks. What'd you say?
Writable forks.
Writable forks. Let's do it. Writable forks.
How do you write with a fork? That's like trying to eat with a pencil, right?
Little kids find a way. Scratching it on the table. Oh yeah. I'm gonna add a verb to it as well. I don't know if we like that or not, but I am. Good.
Yeah, I think we do get quite a lot.
Forks.
At least it's not get writable forks for Web IDE. Like that would just be too much. Yeah.
But it's shareable. You can share it. All right, this is basically what it's gonna look like. I somehow missed the first one. All right. I think we could do project path. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's something like this, right? This
Yeah.
this is code. All right. Should I just hard code
Is
this?
it
Do you think?
is it an ID or isn't it a string? I always get confused.
For weird reason, the project path is decided to be this. It says it's an ID, even
Oh,
though
okay.
I don't know what that means. It's a special type.
Everything is an ID. An
Yeah.
ID is whatever you want it to be.
That's you're sounding like Elasticsearch or something like that. We'll just leave developer in here. That kind of makes sense, I guess. And we'll just get this. And what other things do we get from here? Do we get the avatar URL? Cool. Yeah, that's helpful. Maybe we'll pull the description. We'll see what we need and not need. All right, cool. So we're here.
Was it avatar or avatar URL just before? I can't
Oh,
remember.
yes.
You verbalized URL, but I didn't see whether it actually had URL.
It didn't make it. All right. Cool. So now what we want to do is do the Apollo fancy thing, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah. I review so much of these Apollo things. I don't know if I've written one in a while. How is it? Where does it come
It's
from?
view dash up. Yeah. You're right.
Apollo? Okay, but we actually probably need to just don't do this here. We need to do it when we mount this thing, right?
I think we do. Yeah.
Yeah. So
You might already have access to view. Probably not in this component, actually.
What are we trying to do? Basically, just sending the query and
we're already in Apollo.
Oh, we have. Oh, cool.
Yes,
We want to send the query, get back a list of writable forks, and then display them to allow you to say, yeah, I want to edit that fork or that fork or that fork, or no, I don't. I want to create a new one.
I just paste the link to a view component in the Zoom chat, which is quite a simple query. So like as a cheat sheet.
Oh, yes.
Are there any doubts?
Thank you. Okay. Apollo. Oh, it doesn't need the dollar thing. What am I doing? All right. Query variables update. I think we just need I don't think we'll need result. We can just do update in there. It's query variables update in there.
Yep.
Query variables update. There. All right, we'll figure these out. We're not in TypeScript land. That all compiles. Import get writable forks query from what? Completing this. Okay, there's the query. Let's go. Oh no, something really died here.
You can do it. Come on.
I think I gotta restart some sort of. I think it's Beater. I blame Beater. Yeah, man. It was like, I'm still working on the rename. All right, variables is a function. Yes, where we can pass. Variables is a function where we can pass. And we just need project path, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go back to here. We're not doing provide or anything. Here's project path. Oh man, do you think we should do provide inject, or should we do this as a prop?
But just inject it in there.
Inject it,
Yeah.
Sounds
provide
good to me.
project path. That's all we do. And then inject
I might need you to go back to that in a minute.
this.
Yeah, no, that is right. I thought it might be a bit further down, but I think that is right.
Okay. Does it work like this? Default, something like that?
Yeah, that works.
Okay.
The other option is an array of strings, but use
That's fine.
strings.
Yeah, I know. Oh my gosh, where do you want to be? The above. Okay, I should have read the error. I was just gonna keep moving it down. All right. Return project path, this project path. All right, great. Update is function, error is function. To do what to do and the error. Update always gets this like data thing, right? Update
I hope so.
is the data thing, so it's gonna get project. Are we guaranteed that it's always truthy? I actually don't think so.
Should always get the project back, even if it doesn't have any forks, right?
Yeah, you should get, and project might be null, but you'll definitely get project at least.
I don't know if this is Apollo 2 or Apollo 3 or Apollo 4 behavior. I don't know what version of Apollo we're on. I don't know what the current behavior is. But at some point, this argument, I remember running across it doing weird stuff on an error. So I don't know if it can actually be falsy.
Okay.
I don't know if that's the old behavior or new behavior. But I'm just going to be defensive because
Yep.
I clearly don't know what to do anymore. Return project dot
Visible forks.
yeah, what did we call it? Visible forks. That sounds right. Visible forks.
Nodes.
Nodes.
That
Yeah.
should do it.
I mean, then we have another to do. What about page? Going through your pages and pages of forks, because that's a feature.
Wow, I'll be impressed if you've got more than access to more than 100 forks.
I know. Cool. So then we got access to all of our forks. Let's just show them for fun. Oh yeah, let's add a computed for like if we're loading or not. Is loading. Is empty maybe too. Return this dot. This is where $Apollo comes in. Queries forks is loading, something like that.
Sounds good to me.
Return this dot forks dot length. Not. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So then we'll do something like if is loading. That's not right. No. All right. Okay. Template v else if it is empty. V else. Sweet. All right. Okay. So if we're loading, we want to do some like GL loading icon. That's a thing. Loading icon components.
I want feedback, Luke. Let's see it. Let's see it.
No, I want to get as far as possible first. I'm joking. I don't know what to do with this thing. I'm just gonna put it right there. Where yo forks at? All right. Oh, we gotta translate that. What? Oh. I don't view a lot these days.
Find that hard to believe. Is
V,
that because you're stuck in Web IDE land?
yeah, something like that. Can we do
You can
V with a 4 or no?
Just you can just put the variable in there and it'll like JSON it by it.
Oh
great.
yeah, you want to just pre it?
Just see it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
something like that.
Perfect.
All right, let's go. Where are we at? Here we go. All right. Compiling Webpack. All right. Whoa, that happened. It did this in the background.
Amazing.
Boom.
So the other thing that we've got to remember as well is that we wouldn't even get as far as this modal. Oh no, wait a minute. Yeah, if they've got a personal fork as well as, they wouldn't even get as far as this modal. So we do need to change that.
Yes, we got
behavior at some point as well.
Yep. Yeah, so let's maybe solve the hard problem. Sounds like, how do we want to present this? Our options right now are commit this and push the draft up, and we can work on it asynchronously and work on something else, or we can keep tackling this problem. Where are you all at?
I think that's a good idea to at least do that, even if we get a bit more time to push it a bit further. But I know Yannick had something exciting to discuss.
Exciting really is a big word for this, but it is it's actually somehow related. So it is not even what I put in the Slack chat, but it is something that I've been looking at for the last half an hour or so, and I feel like I'm over engineering things quite heavily, and I'd really love a second opinion on this. So how do we feel about the fork project that we're still currently looking at? Do we want to pause this for a second, or maybe pick up next week?
Let's how about this? So we're not have to switch back and forth too much if we do that. What do you think of, I'm gonna set a timer for doing 5 more minutes of this if we can find.
Yeah.
Let's just brainstorm and comment some ideas for how we want to present this, because I think that's gonna be the hard problem. You mentioned like a drop down. I don't know. Let me set a timer real fast.
Before you do this, just for planning, Paul, the thing that I'll be bringing up, I don't expect it to be really long. So
that's what
10 minutes should be.
That
okay,
sounds good.
sweet.
So yeah, that sounds good then. Let's just set a timer for the rest of this. I was kind of thinking of opening up GitLab UI and seeing what
sounds like a good idea. Yeah.
What
so I know we've got different types of drop down.
Oh, that's an understatement.
Oh yeah, this would be a collapsible list box, I believe.
Is it really?
Yes, because that's the one that doesn't have a tick box in it, right? Or does it have a tick box in it? Yeah, so that we don't want this one because this is the one with the tick in it, and we don't want a tick in it.
It doesn't, I don't think it necessarily needs a tick.
I
Yeah.
think it does this one.
Well, I think we can make these hrefs. Like we don't have to.
But I think we've got a component specifically for that, I think.
Well,
If
the
not-
other option is like a disclosure, right? But a
That's the one.
disclosure is like a list of actions,
Yeah,
whereas
that
the
seems more,
list box is a list of values.
I feel like a list of actions is actually more apt in this instance, because clicking on any one of these, I don't want them to have to select a project, select a fork, and then click go. I want them to just select it and go straight to it.
Okay, okay, that makes sense then.
But I'm interested to hear if we all feel the same way.
Well, my initial thought was just like a list box, and then you select a fork, and then the button delivers you unto that fork.
I see. But you want to just have, I think Lee's thinking we just go.
Yeah.
I'm
makes
thinking
sense.
less clicks, the better, but
Yeah. I like it.
You know what would be,
go on.
I think what would be kind of nice is if we could do that disclosure, but we put it in the modal footer, because that's where all the actions go. But we can't, because it's not allowed.
But it's not allowed, but we can. I think I agree with you, but that actually would be weird though. Like if there's a drop down here, don't you think?
I'm not against it. I don't know.
Andrew's like, weird is in the eye of the beholder. Yeah, the other idea is we open up a modal from the action. Yeah.
The so-called
What we need-
double layer modal.
What we need is a modal that opens a popover that shows a toast.
Love it.
The best UX, which you know is like done, is like it's opening up a actual like browser pop-up. And then it sends posts a message back or whatever, something like that. Anyways, yeah, I was on the page that you were on, Lee, that this is gonna be a drop down like this where you click on it and we go to it. So something like, I don't know, go to a fork. I don't know what we're doing. But yeah, we'll have to pick the fork we're gonna go to. But I'm trying to find one that has like the avatars and all of that.
Well, you could just put whatever you want in the list item, right? There's one called
Just-
custom list item there.
I think
it's
you're
just
right.
a div at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly. Let's just copy from batch comments, I guess. Disclosure dropdown. We're probably gonna need disclosure dropdown item.
Now, I remember coming across an MR that I might have to go find where I had some complaints about the disclosure API.
Did you disclose those in an issue?
They did end up in an issue, yes.
Oh, nice. And
I
I don't understand the naming of disclosure. I realize that.
Nor do I. Not a clue.
Glad you saying that.
Any idea? Is I'm going to Google it now because it's obviously something.
Oh, this is interesting. Items, and then you can just how interesting. Okay, we're at 20 seconds left. Let's go. Oh man. Okay.
I would just skip the avatar for now. Just put the name.
We have
Simple iteration.
Paul wants it to look sexy, you know.
I do, yeah.
Simple iteration, Paul. Bare minimum. MVP.
I came up with a new acronym for okay. All right. I came up with a new acronym for MVC, which is most verbose change. So when my PM says we're just going for MVC here, I'm like, oh, okay, I know what you want.
Gotcha.
I want to see this and then we'll move on. Oh, what's happened? No, 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 no. What? I didn't load it. I didn't save it. No, it's saved. Come on. What? What?
Typo.
Oh wait, is it called GL disclosure?
No, yeah.
GL disclosure dropped.
This does not. Disco L drop down. This does not say disclosure.
Please. Okay. Sorry, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You know, I set timers for myself, but then I don't always like.
I never care.
It just raises the intensity level. I'm not actually gonna stop. We're just gonna feel more urgent about it. Lee, do you think you'd be able to finish pushing this forward?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
that'd be great. So yeah, I'll make a commit and a branch and push it up. Oh my gosh, come on.
If you're feeling really really whatever the word is helpful, you could push it to the community fork.
Oh, nice. Oh, what? What? What is this? Is this like a default header? Oh no, that's the name. No, that can't be
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, that's an item.
That's
Yeah,
gotta be that's not the item. No, see, it's outside of it. That's like a default header for disclosure, I think, right? I gotta
And it says GitLab UI is a default.
I gotta solve this riddle.
Oh, well, they have it. There's an interesting type that they want for their groups and their items. It's well documented, so you probably just like open up the doc file,
The doc file of here.
the markdown file, yeah, and then pretty much pretty close to the top, anyways. There should be some TypeScript or something.
Oh, for what we expect the items.
Yeah, here we go. This is.
Oh,
what it
look,
is.
you can have an href. That's great. Cool. Yeah, that's a good point. I am curious why GitLab UI showed up. That's my big question. You know?
Yeah, I think it thinks it's a group.
Oh, oh, I see.
So if we go back to this, if we go back to the markdown file,
I see. Yeah.
which is just to say we probably need to do a little bit of mapping in our
You're right.
Apollo query thingamajig.
That totally makes sense. All right. Timer's up. I gotta respect the time.
I appreciate that.
To do. Good luck, Lee. All right. Cool. All right, Yannick.
Awesome. Yeah, let me just grab the screen. So, trying to wrap this up.
Oh, you just shared this.
Absolutely, yeah. It's so surprised that this is the file that I'm currently working on that I just put in the chat. So what I am currently thinking of is error handling, and this thing, no need to share all the UX details with you because the question I'm having is a very technical one. But so this component does something as if in rendering a configuration page, and it has some error handling. We are currently at master branch, and error handling is kind of good, but very basic, I say. We do have it in the GraphQL query. We do have a function, and if this thing becomes true, then we're just displaying this very static loading error, which has been working fine for quite a bit, but we're running into issues with that. For example, this page will allow you to configure the static analysis scanner, and you just can't, for reasons, do this on an empty repository. So the bug basically coming in was like, okay, the error message for when this thing is on an empty repository is really confusing because it just does not say what it actually does. First thing that happened is the backend response got enhanced a little to actually have a meaningful error message, which didn't before, which it now has, which is great. And I'm currently thinking about two things, and this is where the potential over engineering is taking place. So this is my current version of this. There's the on error message, and it's now taken in message as a param, easy as pie, setting specific error text, and then I'll be displaying the error from the backend. Job done, kinda. What I'd like to still keep, and that is where it's getting tricky, and I'm not sure if I'm having a problem in my code or in my tests, is I would love to still have basically this error message as kind of a fallback. So that's why I named those specific and generic error text. Basically, whenever there is something, show the specific one. If there is not, then like something's really went wrong, network, whatever, then just fall back to the generic error text.
Yeah.
Thing with that is, so I'm kind of, whenever there is a message, I'm setting the specific one and then just rendering one or the other. That is fine. And the problem with that, and maybe it's in my tests, but it seems like that I just can't find to trigger anything which does not have a message in there. And like, let me just show you the tests I'm running. Let's hope I didn't fully. Yeah, so I'm basically running into this kind of thing. Like, it seems like whatever I get, message will always be a thing, but it's like something really technical, not useful for the user as well. So yeah, a couple of things that I could solve that, and a couple of ways I could think of a solution, but I'm not liking any of these. So what would you do?
If Lee and Andrew don't mind me chiming in, any kind of error handling, we need to treat error objects as unknown. So because anything could be thrown. We're not guaranteed what they are. So we need to do basically runtime type checking. What is safe to present to the user? And
Yeah,
so that's I was saying this is really great. But I wouldn't just accept whatever comes from on error, because you're going to still show random GraphQL errors that show up, or whatever, network errors, whatever it is. You're going to still show those directly to the user. All errors do have a message. So you need to almost like test the type of error and you could do tests on the message of the error to know, is this a friendly error or not? And if
it's on the message on the error, like that is one of the solutions I'm thinking of, which I'm not basically a fan. Basically checking for the error message. If it says empty repository, then trigger this message.
The other thing,
I've over-engineered my own solution to this. I'd like to see that.
I do really want to hear that. I do want to also throw out there, the GraphQL way of doing this is user-facing errors actually go into the query response. So you see a lot of us do errors as a field on the query. So this on error means something really bad happened with the GraphQL request. And
but this is what we're having, isn't it? In this case.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what we'll actually see is something like here, what you could have is like SaaS CI configuration errors or something like that.
But they're not doing data as errors.
Right. That's the thing that I'm seeing is like, okay, that's where you're running into, that's a root contributor to some of the complexity here, is because this type of error is all sorts of errors. It's from network errors to
could be anything,
anything.
I would probably take this back to the backend team, honestly.
Okay. And what would you ask them for? Getting another field?
Putting it, doing like a data as errors kind of GraphQL thing. I'll find it in our docs, but the idea being, as Paul was trying to get to, was that like, instead of having a project type, you get an errors field on your data,
a minute.
right?
Sorry, I missed just a tiny little bit. So this error to me, but I might be looking at it wrong. It looks like the standard error that says there's a problem. like a real serious problem, like your query is invalid or something like that. But what is it?
Yeah, kind of like this is so what we're seeing here is basically what I'm putting out here. So in this very specific case this page is currently in.
Gotcha.
This is working fine. But as you folks just very rightly said, whenever there is something else going wrong, like it will say undefined is not a function or whatever it might be in here, which is not quite the goal we're shooting for.
Yeah, no, I had a parent session on this recently, actually, and we found a way to actually differentiate between when you use they call it top level errors versus whatever else you want to call them, not top level errors.
Okay. Do we have any docs on this, or?
Yeah, I just posted a link to the docs in the Zoom chat for you.
What you'll usually see though is you usually see this with mutations. Is where you'll see the errors, like the user level facing errors show up in mutation. Yeah. It's not usually in queries, but I don't see what's necessarily preventing us from putting it in a query. If you want to go about the other way though, of we're going to throw a bona fide, you know, blow everything up kind of error, you will need to do some sort of message checking of like, this is friendly, this is not. And so
gotcha.
I would suggest that the backend, let's agree on some sort of convention of friendly messages start with this. I can check for that and I can trim it and then I can put it in there. If it doesn't start with this, it's not friendly. I'm going to log it and I'm going to show the generic one saying to look at the logs. So yeah,
understood.
It's always more than you bargained for, but I think you're thinking the right thing though.
Just to quickly summarize, so I'm not getting this wrong, it's basically be speaking with the backend to add another arrows field, which is not the one I'm currently looking at. Go for that, check if there's something in there. If there's something in there, then it's friendly. Completely ignore the arrow field I'm currently looking at. And if the now friendly arrow field has something, display it. If not, go for the generic one. Is that what I'm hearing?
I think so.
Yeah, awesome. But you're right. It's always a mutation. So I don't know. Maybe it does really break our kind of convention or whatever you want to call it.
So we might not be able to do this errors field with the query, but and this is something you could do on your own. Like wherever they're doing that error message, I would just throw some sort of code in there that you could search for the front end of this is friendly and trim it.
Yeah.
You know, replace it, search for it and replace for it. It'd be so much easier than doing then hard coding the message itself. Like that's the other option. And
understood. How do we feel making sorry just keyword? Because no machine would ever apologize.
I don't agree with that. I feel like I know that at some point I probably, accidentally formatted some Linux distribution and it said sorry.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, well, I'll think of something else.
I don't know, as Bing AI has shown, apologizing is not in their vocabulary.
This is true. Bing AI is not, ChatGPT is on the other side of the spectrum there. I've got to hop off, but yeah, this is an interesting problem. Sorry we didn't have a lot of time to talk about and pair on it, but hopefully this...
It was a great clarification. Thank you.
Let us know how you get on as well, because I'm interested to hear the answer and whether you find any other queries that return errors on as well.
If you could post an update on the front end pairs, that'd be great too. Thanks.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll do so. Awesome.
Have a good one.
Have a good one. All. Cheers.